hadhil ummata biqiyami jami'ati al-hukumiyah al-islamiyah sa'iyatan ila hifdiddin wa hirasatis syariah qaimatan alal i'tidali wat tasamuhi wat tawazuni wat tawassuti al muhafizina ala al qadimis soleh wal akhidina bil jadidil aslah. Good afternoon, distinguished Professor Sander and the student. Before going on my speaking, uridu an urafiko al-asdiqo fi hadal majlis wa fi Zoom. Idzan natakallamu bi salasi lughatin. Saya akan menyampaikan dalam 3 bahasa karena di sini ada yang bisa bahasa Inggris, ada yang bisa bahasa Arab, dan saya melihat juga banyak yang bahasa Indonesia yang sepertinya lebih senang ketika menggunakan bahasa Indonesia, gitu ya. On behalf of the organizing committee, it is my great pleasure to welcome all of you to today's panel session on academic writing. We are delighted to have participants from different universities, Mr. Sander, and countries. Yang dari Sudan, angkat tangan. There are 3 students from Sudan, Mr. Sander, and the other Tanzania. Wujud kam nafaron min Tanzania. Wahid fakot. One student from Tanzania and the other Nigeria and also from Indonesia. Itu. Thailand, wujud, there is, okay. Pada sesi kali ini kita akan melanjutkan dari sesi-sesi yang telah kita sudah dapatkan ilmunya. Cuma yang paling penting adalah teman-teman di sini sepakat tidak kalau misalkan semua orang itu pasti memiliki ide. Ya, kullukum ra'yun. Ya, everyone idea. Ya, sepakat kan ya? Nah, masalahnya ketika kita memiliki ide, kadang masalahnya adalah, bukan kadang, bahkan sering, masalahnya adalah bagaimana kita merasionalisasi atau menempatkan ide kita itu pada tempatnya. Sehingga terkadang ketika misalkan ada ide yang mestinya itu menarik, the idea is brilliant, but we haven't to transform to to result for that point gitu. Kadang kita memiliki ide, misalkan tempo hari saya pernah menulis tentang sonhorek. Mungkin sonhorek itu sesuatu yang viral ya ketika menjelang Agustusan gitu. Lalu pertanyaannya adalah mau diapakan sonhorek itu? Saya kira setiap kalian pasti memiliki ide. Yang ide itu biasanya berangkat dari dari pengetahuan kalian masing-masing. Karena ini kebanyakan dari Febi yang notabene-nya adalah Islamic economic ya, atau bisnis, pasti berpikir sonhorek ini manfaat. Kenapa? Karena dengan adanya sonhorek itu akan membuka lahan bisnis bagi masyarakat UMKM gitu. Nah, beda lagi ketika misalkan yang melihat itu adalah dari mahasiswa kedokteran misalnya. Oh, ini nggak perlu ada sonhorek ini mengganggu telinga gitu. Artinya ada ide yang ingin disampaikan. Nah, masalahnya adalah ketika misalkan kita ingin menyampaikan ide, tapi kita tidak memiliki good methodology, good teori, maka nanti kita akan bingung mau dikemanakan teori itu. Nah, saya kira penting untuk kita hadirkan Profesor Sander from India. It is now my great honor to introduce our distinguished speaker, Professor Sander. This is from India. We are truly grateful that he has accepted invitation to be with us today. Without further ado, Professor Sander, the time is yours.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for nice welcoming and introducing about me. So very good afternoon to all of you, those who have from different continents, Nigeria, Sudan, people. Really, we are happy. I hope you all may be good in understanding of English. If you have any doubt during the session, if you can raise your comments in the chat or you can give me a voice, I can explain in detail the way. Okay. So today the agenda is how to write a scientific article writing. And it should be get published in the reputed journal. That's the agenda. Okay. So you all aware about the research and findings, but sometimes somehow you may be lagging to write the article in a high reputed journal standard. Okay, so today's session will give a brief and idea behind the seeing how we have to prepare a quality article to meet the expectations of the reputed journal in which you will get the acceptance. Okay, so how many of you people already have published some article? Could you tell me anybody have published some good article? My voice is audible, Professor. My voice is audible.
Yes, can we hear you? But there is no matter play in Zoom.
Yeah, I'll present it.
Okay.
I'll present the PPT
Okay.
soon. Okay. So you all have an idea about the problem and the solutions. But in terms of writing, maybe you are the UG and PG students. Okay. I'll give a brief idea about how to write the research article. Now I'll share the presentation. I hope you all can see the presentation. Am I right? Is it visible?
Yes, readable. Okay.
Yeah.
Continue.
So let me introduce first. I am Professor Sundar, School of Computer Science and Engineering, Galgotias University, located in India, capital of India, Delhi. My research contributions, so far I have published more than 25 Q1 or Q2 articles, 20 Scopus Next article, 10 IEEE International Conference, book chapters, edited book, intellectual property rights. These are all my research contributions in the field of computer science and knowledge. So it's a good time to give my idea to the young researchers who are from Indonesia. You will get an idea how to write a research article. The learning outcome of this session is understand an article structure to write each section correctly. First learning outcome. Second learning outcome, avoid common mistakes and meet journal standards to increase the acceptance rates. So at the end of this workshop, you will come to know, you can understand, okay, how the structure of the article, okay, how we can avoid the mistakes, in which we can get the acceptance of the regular structure. This is the outcome of this today's session. Research before writing. Before writing the article, okay, what you have to do, first you have to understand the problem deep. Here, maybe you are people from different streams, different disciplines, okay, but you are all trying to give a solution for the real world problem relevant to your field. Okay, so first you have to identify the problem in your society or your discipline, your domain. Okay, then explore the entire domain thoroughly. Okay, first you suppose you have identified one domain, then you have to explore more and more about the domain. What are the methodology, what are the data sets, what are the evaluation methods are available. Everything you have to explore. Okay, then identify the real world challenge. For the particular domain, you may have identified some challenges. That is what very important. Okay, so relevant to the challenge, you can ask some questions to the experts, or you can ask yourself relevant to the domain, what are the challenges. Okay, so based on this, you can define the scope and the boundaries. This is what very important before start the research. Identify the domain, explore the domain very deeply. Relevant to research, you have to ask the questions to the experts and yourself. Okay, based on that, you can find the scope and boundaries. Okay, now you have a domain. What you have to do next? Identify the research gap. Research gap. So that is what very important. It will helpful for design the problem description. So what you have to do? First, you already identify the research domain. Now you can do the analyzation of existing methods, existing studies, literature survey. In the real world, recent 5 years from 2020 to 2026, you have to identify the research articles which is relevant to your domain. You have to analyze all the existing studies. Okay, then every research article there will be some novelty, some innovations, some innovative methodology. So you can compare all the article solution and the methodology, how it performs. For example, if you have taken 5 number of paper, every article they have given their own innovative method for relevant to your topic. So you collect all the 5 methodologies, you can compare with all the methodology, which one is giving the better solution. Okay, and the end of the article, definitely they may be mentioned what are the limitations in that particular field. What are the limitations in their method? Okay, so that will justify the need for your research. Okay, so the first you have identified the domain, you have explored the domain. Okay, then second thing, based on the existing studies, you have identified what are the best solutions given by the recent innovative methods. Okay, that will justify the your research based on the limitations what you have identified. Okay, now what you have to do, review recent literature. You are aware about literature support. Okay, when you are doing the literature survey, okay, you have to consider only last 5 years articles. Okay, so you are in students, you may not aware about it. Very old paper, if you are doing literature survey, the journal won't consider your article. Okay, so only you have to read relevant research article during last 5 years. Okay, fine. So now we are doing literature survey last 5 years. But at the same time, don't read standard article. Okay, you have to only consider elsewhere, Springer, IEEE. Okay, or either Scopus Q1 or Q. You may aware about the database, Scopus database. Okay, so when you are referring the article, just to copy the article title and search in the Scopus database, whether it is available or not. Okay, so first you have to collect the recent papers and you have to check with the Scopus database whether it is indexed or not. Such an article only you have to read. Otherwise, it is waste of time. Okay. So literature survey, you have to source the high quality databases from Scopus, elsewhere, Springer, IEEE. Okay. So you must focus on recent articles. Then this recent 5 articles, you have to summarize the key findings, methods, and trend. This is what very important. What is the key finding of every article? Okay, what are the methods? What are the solutions? Compare the 5 article, which one is giving the better solution? What is the limitations there? Okay, this is what you have to do, and you can make it as a table, literature survey table. For example, year of publication, title, actually column by column in the table, year of publication, title, methodology, advantages, disadvantages means limitations. This we have to make it in a table. That will helpful for your giving the solution for the solution. Okay. Then based on the survey and the limitations, you can define your objective. So when you are defining the objective, you have to give a clear research objective. In an article, you can consider 2 or 3 research objectives in research. So that research article, 3 objectives, everything is this 3 objectives should be aligned with a proper way. And what is the expected outcome? And what is the impact of your problem? Okay, that is what very. Okay, I'll repeat. First, the problem domain you are exploring. Then you are identifying existing methods and solutions. Then you are doing literature survey with the recent articles, last 5 years article. In the recent article, you can find the methods, you will identify that. Then you are defining the objective. Okay. Then based on this, you can develop the methodology. That is what here you are playing the role. Okay. Based on the problem domain, we are choosing the appropriate method for giving the better solution for your problem. Okay. So you have to design the experimental setup or frame for every problem. So what the journal will be expecting, the methodology and the architecture for the same. If you are giving the detailed architecture for your methodology, then it is very simple. It will be best advisable to go for the next level of review. Okay. If your methodology is weak, then okay, journals won't consider it. Okay. So that is what very important. Then validate the originality. Every methodology, okay, innovative methodology can compare with the state of art methods. Along with the state of art method, you can compare your methodology with the recent by methodology, what we have done for the literature. Okay. Now, how your work will be given an added value to the given problem and objective. This is the way you can identify your research program. Okay, problem domain, research gap identification, literature survey, define objectives, and developing the methodology and all. Okay. I hope you are following the presentation. Now, you know, choose the genre. How we can choose the genre? This is very important. Most of the researchers simply they are sending the article to the chat. That never ever helps you. At the same time, how you are downloading the article relevant to your problem. That's also very okay. So match the research based on your field and keywords. You have to identify the that is very domain specific. If you are approaching the multidisciplinary, then it is fine. But we have to choose the domain specific journals. Okay. Then indexing. If the journal is indexed in the major databases, the major database for scientific community is scientific Scopus and another one is Web of Science. Okay, science citation index are all coming from Web of Science. So these two major databases you have to consider for the indexing. Then impact factor. If I give a short word about the impact factor, if any journal is in a high impact factor, that means you can find the high quality article which is most cited and most read articles. When you are doing the literature survey, you have to download the article. You have to identify the article relevant to your domain from this top reputed. At the same time, once you have paid the fee, now you can find a journal like this. Good quality article based on the impact factor, based on the indexing. Okay. Then read author writings. You are submitting the article to any journal. You have to read the author writings. That is very important. What is the journal template? Okay, how the bigger able to what kind of text, what is the quality of the picture, okay, the author contributions, everything you have to carefully read from the journal. What is the author guidelines? That they will also mention whether it is a hybrid journal or free journal. Okay, so that you have to very carefully read the guidelines. Okay, then study published paper. So from the reputed journal, you can identify your relevant article and download and read. Okay, so high impact factor journal will help you for high novelty, good novelty for relevant to your domain. Okay, if you are reading such kind of article, that will be helpful for your uh, problem domain, and you can find the limitation, means a drawback from the methodology and a new uh, open problem from the article. This is the standard paper structure. Now we are seeing title, abstract, introduction, methods, results and discussion. See, the title, every research article, the title is very important. Okay, but in the title, when you are writing, it should be a crisp and it should not be same as what the existing tool. Okay. So when you are defining the title, it should not be available in the different. Okay. So at the same time, it should be a quality one and it should be a trendy one, the recent one. It should not be a generic title. So generic title never ever helps. Okay. Some, in the title itself, you can mention what methodology you are going to use for the particular problem. That is very important. And make it very simple and advanced. Okay. Next, I will come to the abstract. This abstract is the core part of the article. So when you are writing the abstract, you have to consider only below 200 words. That is very important. Below 200 words, which consist of your problem, your objective, what methodology you are using to give a solution, and what is the results it gives compared to the uh, recent system. Okay. So within 200 words, you have to write in a crisp way to explain about the entire article. That means problem, objective, methodology, what is the solution compared to the existing. Okay. Then introduction. Introduction, you don't write in elaborate, you can make it as 1 or 1.5 pages. That is more than enough about your problem, where it is originated, how it has developed, what is the recent achievement in the article. Okay, then how we are going to identify your problem and give the solution. That you have to given in the introduction. Then methods. In the methods, we are going to give a data set description if we are using architecture of your methodology, workflow, then your method, pseudocode method, everything comes in the finally resultant discussion. This is very, very important part. Okay. Based on your implementation, based on your methodology, okay, for a data set or whatever is field of domain, you can write in a detailed way. What is the graph? Okay. Your all the results must be explained in a pictorial representation like bar chart, pie chart, okay, table, figure. Carefully, you have to maximum explain in a terms of pictorial representation. That is very important. Okay. Also, if suppose you are using machine name algorithms, every 10 efforts, what is that? Verification, validation. Okay. Is there any pre-processing? Every results can be placed in the results and discussion. In the conclusion part, okay, you can tell what is the problem, how we have achieved the solution. A solution giving the better performance based on the other methods. So like that, you have to beautifully describe and reason the best performance, not more than half pages. That is what very important. So this is the basic standard structure for every research article. Title, abstract, introduction, methods, result and discussion. And I want to add one more point to this. After the abstract, you have to add keywords. Keywords play a major role when you are identifying the journal and reviewer assignment. Okay. So based on the keywords, you can get a journal recommendation. Also, when you are submitting the article, based on the keywords, the editor will assign the reviewer format. Okay. So these are all the keywords are very, very important. Title, abstract, introduction, and some description. Then I'll come to each and every part more specific. How we have to write the type and which will create a great impact. First, clear and concise. Use a simple and straightforward language. That is very important. Keep it very short and use the trendy keywords. Okay, so that is what very important. Second thing, include keywords. Add relevant keywords that describe your topic and help in indexing. For example, in the computer science and engineering, we will use the word data analytics, keyword, CNN, convolution neural network, artificial neural network, blockchain. Like that, you can use the keyword. It will be helpful for identifying the uh, uh, journals as well as indexing. Okay, then reflect contribution. So based on your title, if you have given the clear title, that will indicate the focus and unique contribution of your research. So based on your research problem, you have to give a simple and straightforward title. Okay. Then avoid abbreviations. Do not use abbreviations or acronyms unless while. For example, um, in the title, I am just giving the word artificial neural net. We no need to give directly artificial neural net. You can give AML in the title. See, if suppose you are using convolution neural network, CN. Okay, in the title, you no need to give the very abbreviations. Simple word you can use, simple pointers you can use, because the ANN is widely people are understanding. Okay, it is an artificial. Okay, then your title must be catchy to the young researchers. Create interest and curiosity to encourage readers to explore your work. See, whenever you are going to the library, based on the title, you will take in the book. Okay, so the title which will give an impression to the young researchers to explore your work. Okay, so how you are giving a effort to write the research, that is very important. At the same time, it should be reflected in the time. Okay, so it is very important when you are writing the research time. Then author information. So here it is very important. That will be helpful for your entire career. Author information is very, very important. So when you are giving the author information, you should give the correct affiliations. For example, University of Jakarta, Indonesia. Okay, and you can mention your department. For example, Department of Mathematics, as per your university, your name. Okay, then you have to include your email ID. It should not be a personal email ID. It should be a official email ID. Every institution, university, organization will give you a domain email ID. Okay, that email ID you have to use that helpful for your research publication. Also, you have to give ORC ID. Okay, I think you are young researchers, PG and PG students. If you don't have a ORC ID, you can create it. Okay, you have to create the ORC ID. Okay, then every research article we have to mention the corresponding. Okay, see the corresponding author is going to communicate the article to the journal. So that you have to mention in the journal. How you will mention the article? With the star. Okay, you can see the notation. A name ended with superfix star. Okay, if you have given the star with the name, that is the corresponding author. Okay, then one more thing, when you are writing the good quality article and you are looking for a Q1 article journal, you have to mention every author what they have contributed to your search. Okay, for example, author A, they have conceptualized methodology he has given. He has written the original draft. Okay, author A. Author B, they have done the data collection, peak processing, visualization. This we have to mention. Okay, maybe your supervisor, your guide. Okay, author C, he has done the supervision, review of your editing, funding acquisition. Okay, so every author, how they are contributed to your own research article that you have to mention clearly in your research article. So I hope you have understood. You have to give a correct affiliation, correct email ID, domain email ID from your institution, then ORC ID, corresponding author you have to instruct, then every author what they have contributed. This clearly you have to give a information in the manuscript. Now, the research journey. How the research journey? Already I have given. You have to identify the research problem. Based on the literature survey, you can identify the research gap objective. Now you are going to apply the method. What is the method you are going to use to give a solution for the problem? That method must be some novelty, some innovation, some contribution. It may be incremental research, but some novelty should be there. Okay, that method give a major findings. What is the finding from your methodology? So your contribution, main contribution, then feature. This is what very important research problem. What methodology, including architecture, what is the finding the methodology has given, what is your contribution, then you have to give a feature direction. Every problem there will be some boundary, the methodology there should be a boundary, so you can address the limitations and feature direction for the next sources. Okay, this is what the research design. Then about the keyword, I already told after the abstract we have to give a keyword that will be helpful for your journal recommendation, author, uh, reviewer, signing from the editorial side. Okay, and identifying the quality check. So for that you have to do minimum 5 to 6 number of keywords. Very important keywords. Okay, then what is the database search? Domain specific. Avoid repetition. Same. For example, data science, computer vision. Okay, so you should not repeat the keywords. This is very important because the keywords are very unique. That keyword will give the visibility to the to the journal as well as researchers. Okay. For example, in the basic computer science people, they will search data science research article, blockchain research article. Like that, they will be based on the keyword only. You will get the visibility when your paper get published. Then introduction part. After the I have given the clear idea about title, how it should be, then author information, how it should be, then keywords, how we have to do that, proper keywords and number of keywords must be 5 to 7. Then introduction. So about your problem, you can write the background. Then you have to address the research gap. Based on the objective research gap, you can give the problem statement in the introduction part itself. Then followed by you can give an objective and your contribution towards the particular research work or your research manuscript. Literature survey, recent studies. Recent studies means recent 5 years. You can do 10 or 20 research articles from the reputed database like Scopus and records. Okay. So every article you have to identify the methodology and limitations. Based on the, for example, you have taken 10 number of research literature survey recent article, you have a 10 research methods. You can identify 10 number of limitations or disadvantages relevant to a single term. So that will give a better research problem, better research. From that, you get the motivation for your own particular research. That is what literature survey part. These are all the things you have to clearly address in the literature survey part. Then research. What are the existing challenges based on the recent research survey that you have to clearly mention? Okay. And current limitations and drawbacks. How we have to, these are all the, based on the literature survey, we have identified these are all the open problems are available. Okay. This particular problem, we can give a improvement. For improvement, what is the research methodology? Okay. That is what novel solution. Methodology. How we have to present the methodology. The entire architecture for your methodology. You can see any research article before they are going to start the methodology, they will give an architecture. Okay, how this architecture will give a explanation about the methodology, how it will work for your problem. Okay, that you have to clearly mention. Okay, in the methodology part, for example, computer science group, there will be a data research. So where they have downloaded the data set, what is the volume of the data set, what are the characteristics of data set, what are the pre-processing we have done. Okay, everything you have to explain in detail to you. If you are choosing the data set, you have to consider the recent one and the volume must be reasonable. Okay, see, you have downloaded 10 number of research articles or literature survey in recent times. You can check what is the data set. Okay, the same data set you can also try for your result and discussion. Okay, so in the methodology part, you can write an algorithm based on your methodology, how we are going to get an algorithm and workflow means a pseudo code or flow of the methodology. Okay, then implementation. If you are using such programming language, that also you are going to highlight how we are going to implement, what are the libraries we are using, what is the architecture, for example, CNN architecture, ANN architecture, Tensement, Resonant, YOLO. These are all the architectures we can mention. What kind of methodology this architecture will be useful for you. This is very important. Experimental setup. Okay, you have a research methodology. Now you have a data set. What are the hardware and software you are using? What are the parameters you have considered to tune up your methodology? Finally, whatever the methodology you are going to apply for your problem domain, you have to evaluate if you are the same evaluation is applicable for existing. Okay, if you want to claim your method is best, you have to mention how the way your method is best. For that, you have to use the evaluation matrix. So evaluation matrix will be the means metrics to compare with the other methods, how it will be best compared to other methods. How you can justify with this evaluation matrix how your method will be best compared to the other methods. Then result part. So every result, every article, every manuscript, okay, you can explain your findings in a metrics, performance metrics, tables, by chart, bar chart, okay, graph, statistical analysis, and key observations. These are all the very important. You just will take any one of the sample paper, okay, they will present in a table, they will present in a graph, they will present in a chart, okay. What are the possible way, effective way you can mention in the paper. So this representation will give a better visualization, better understanding, better impression to the reviewer as well as the readers. Then discussion. The end of the article, there will be a discussion before conclusion. Okay, so you have to describe the findings and interpret all the methodology and data set. Explain what you have improved based on the recent literature. Okay, compare the literature. For example, compared to the state of our method, your novel will be the better results. Like that, you have to justify in the discussion. Okay, and practical implications. What is the significance of your research relevant to the that you have to highlight in the discussion part. Then, very importantly, mathematical model. This is, the entire article you have to be carefully have. Okay, for example, define variable. Okay, if you are introducing any variable, you have to define properly. What is x? What is y? Okay, what's the integration? Everything you have to clearly. Then number equations. Okay, when you are writing, you already practiced. Maybe you are the support your UG student. You have to be very careful. When you are writing the equation, you have to write the equation number carefully. Also, when you are writing the equation, you have to use the equation editor. If suppose you are using latex, then it is well and good. Okay. Then explain every symbol. Okay. Don't forget and don't miss any symbol which is not explained in the article list. You will get a reviewer comments. Okay. Then maintain the consistency, like equation numbers, table number, figure number, everything you have to properly maintain the consistency. Okay. Then support methodology. That these are all the items will be very useful when you are writing the article. Then figures and tables. Okay. So every article should have at least a minimum 5 to 10 number of either image, either graph or tables. Okay. If it is image, it should be a high quality one, and clear captions should be there for every table, every image, every graph. Okay. You should not forget, and you should not forget about the number also. Okay. All the labels should be readable. When you are giving the label, it should be a readable. And there is some of the presenting article, the in the table or something. Okay, it won't be a visible. So all must be very clear and it should be a readable form. Okay, and it should be a uniform way you have to follow. Okay, a reference you have to give in a correct way. Okay, the conclusion part. Okay, so this is the before the reference. There is a conclusion part. You have to summarize your findings. Very important. Okay, you already identified the problem, done the literature survey, given the introduction, you have given the methodology, then you have given the results and discussion. In the results and discussion, figure, table, graph, chart, everything you have given. The final one, conclusion, you have to give the findings, summarize the findings. What is the novelty you have used in this manuscript? What is the novelty you have used to give a solution for the given problem? And you have to give what is the contributions you. Then you can give what is the limitations and boundaries. That will be the future for the future of such people. Okay, this is very important. And references. Here it plays a major role. Most of the researchers are not giving importance to the references. But it is very important for the journal side. Publisher side, it is very important. You have to cite minimum 25 to 30 number of references Among the 30 references, minimum 20 references or 25 references must be in recent article. Recent article at the same time it is available in the Scopus database or Scopus database. Okay, don't add more number of conference paper. Definitely it won't be helpful for your proof of applications. You have to consider only either Q1 or Q2 recent articles when you are giving the reference. Okay, journal article. Okay, mostly you have to consider journal. See, different type of publications are there. A book chapter, conference, scopus, SCA publication. You have to consider maximum reputed journals. One or two conferences. Okay. Then when you are writing the references, you have to follow the journal template. What is the style they are asking you to write the reference for? Okay. Avoid outdated sources. Before submitting into the journal, you have to check whether the reference article is available in the internet article. That is very important. Use reference manager like maintaining software. It will be helpful for your arranging the proper way of giving the references. So these are all the keywords you have to consider when you are writing the reference form. And ethical consideration, very important. Nowadays, very so many AI tools are available for research article. You may use no issue, but don't copy things to the internet. Also, after completion of article, you can check the plagiarism. If there is a plagiarism above 10%, you have to minimize it, including similarity report as well as AI. Okay. Then all the references are properly cited in the. That is very, very important. Kindly avoid too much of citations in a single term. Okay. And original figures. You have to use your own figure, not AI generated figure. That is very important. And don't
Sorry,
copy any.
Professor Sander, you have only 3 minutes again.
Fine. Yeah. So you have to use your original figure. Suppose you are copy pasting any figure, you have to give a reference if it is a related figures. Okay, that is very important. And the conflicts of disclosure. Every journal, based on the journal conditions, you can give a conflict of disclosure form and solutions. Okay. All media students and young researchers, we are started to do a research article writing. Kindly, carefully check this slide. These are all the things we have to avoid when we are weak novel. It won't be helpful for your publication. Poor English, never ever going to support for your publication. Incomplete references. I already told how the format you have to use, what all the references you have to use in recent times. Incomplete references, it will be helpful. Insufficient experience. Okay. For example, for a research article, some of the people they will use only one data set. No, you have to use more than one database. Two or three data set you have to use for the single problem. How your methodology will do the solution for different data sets. That is very important. Then journal guidelines. You have to strictly follow the journal guidelines. Don't ignoring the guidelines. So these are all the common mistakes usually the people will do in the early stage. Weak novelty, poor English, incomplete references, insufficient experiments, ignoring the guidelines. If you avoid these things, then definitely the paper will move into the editorial. Okay, the editor will move to the reviewers. Okay, so kindly consider and kindly avoid this kind of mistakes. Peer review submission process. And prepare the article first. Now I have explained how to prepare the article. Now prepare article is ready. You can upload the article in the journal. Okay. Journal, two way of review assignment. Either you have to give the reviewer or journal will give a review. Okay, if suppose you have to give a reviewer, you have to give a relevant reviewer for your article, experts for your, okay, and check the proofreading after submission. Okay, after reading the proofreading, you can go for the submission with the journal. So this is the way how you have to submit the article to the journal. Prepare the manuscript, upload the file, suggest to the reviewer, check the proofreading, then submit it to the journal. Then, after submitting into the journal, after 1 or 2 months, you will get the reviewer comments. When you receive the reviewer comment, okay, you should be respectfully you have to give the answer. Okay. The reviewer may ask 10 to 15 number of comments. For every comment, you have to revise the article carefully and you have to provide the evidence for each and every comments. Highlight the changes in the message. These are all the things very important. People may able to write the article. People can submit the article into the channel, but they do not know how to write the review comments. So we have to answer clearly for each and every comment. Revise the article based on the evidence, and also you can highlight the changes. This document have to upload when you are submitting the revised article to the and final checks. Grammar have you checked. References are verified. Figures are clear and numbered clearly. Guidelines are strictly followed or not. Ready for submission. These are all the checklists before submission. You have to check the grammar check. References are correct and cited properly or not. Figures are clear. Numbers are given. Guidelines are strictly followed or not from the general guidelines. Then you can go for the submission. So this is the entire journey of the research paper writing and submitting into the quality journey. Okay. So thank you so much for the patient listening. If you have any doubt, now you can ask. I hope you have understood. You
Okay.
may follow.
Give applause for Mr. or Professor Sander. Thank you very much, Professor Sander, for your insightful and inspiring presentation. I am sure that we have many perspective on how to encourage our academic writing. Selanjutnya, hadirin teman-teman, kita akan melanjutkan sesi selanjutnya, yaitu pemaparan atau semacam hasyiah atau komentar atau catatan pendek dari Profesor David. Beliau adalah guru besar di Universitas Jember. Sebelumnya saya sapa dulu Profesor David, apakah tersedia di Zoom? Profesor David? Halo, Profesor David?
Sebentar, ini masuk suara saya.
Masuk Prof. Monggo Prof.
Ya.
Silakan, monggo. Waktu dan tempat saya pasrahkan kepada panjenengan untuk memberikan anotasi atau catatan penjelas dari apa yang disampaikan oleh Profesor Sander, karena di sini juga walaupun dari Sudan ada, dari Tanzania ada, tapi mereka sudah bisa bahasa Indonesia, Prof. Monggo Prof.
Baik. Ya, assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bisa dilihat ya. Bisa kedengaran?
Bisa, jelas Prof. Monggo.
Ya baik. Saya mencoba untuk mulai apa yang saya punyai. Sebentar saya share screen. Kelihatan saya. Kelihatan, Pak?
Kelihatan, Prof. Monggo
Ya,
dilanjut.
baik. Itu judulnya mungkin saya tidak ingin terlalu detail. Sudah sampaikan, itu penerapan research based learning dalam menghasilkan penelitian yang bernovelty tinggi untuk dipublikasikan dalam international jurnal beredukasi. Ya, motivation in writing scientific, academic, scientific and unscientific writing itu biasanya ada tiga, bahwa in science you are what you write. A good science demand a strong writing. However, a good writing cannot overcome a bad science. In science, no matter how spectacular the result, the work is not completed until the result are published. Nah, oleh karena itu, in our case, especially for postgraduate researcher, postgraduate program, we encourage them to have publication first and then report document later. Jadi publikasi lebih dahulu, kemudian baru menulis dokumen laporan tesis maupun disertasi kemudian. Ini yang menjadi filosofi bagaimana akhirnya kita coba memahamkan bahwa riset itu adalah sangat penting. Now we are talking about what is the research actually. Research come from two words, re and search. Re means repetition, search means searching. So research is a searching activity which is repeated until we get the satisfaction result. And in the research, repetition activity should be systematical to study, to analyze, even to solve or to interpret the problem, to use it for the solution of the problem. Ini adalah sifat riset. Contohnya di sini, riset itu harus mengikuti tren yang terkini. Ini adalah becak misalkan, mulai zaman dahulu sampai sekarang ada modifikasi terhadap becak itu. Ya ada yang ditarik oleh manusia, bisa jadi ada rodanya, tapi manusianya berjalan sampai berevolusi, kemudian sekarang menghasilkan sebuah teknologi baru, becak yang menggunakan mesin. Maka starting, kalau kita mau menginovasi terkait dengan becak, maka jangan sampai kita menginovasi becak yang sudah lama. So we should start with the new was daripada becak itu, and then we will find out, of course, the highest novel, sebuah kebaharuan yang ada. Makanya yang ada merahnya itu adalah sebuah tempat sebuah starting point yang bagus untuk melakukan riset. Ini adalah jenis daripada riset. Ada kuantitatif, kualitatif, analytical study, and then we have mixed method. Ya, non-eksperimental, eksperimental, dari sebuah kuantitatif. Kalau dia non-eksperimental, we have descriptive, we have comparative type of research, hallucinal research, as well comparative research. Yeah. Even we have a qualitative, but when we do qualitative research, for example, case study, phenomenology, ethnography, ground theory, then ini biasanya banyak dilakukan oleh teman-teman di sosial humaniora, but harus hati-hati sekarang karena dengan mudahnya menggunakan AI, menggunakan conversational user interface untuk mengembangkan yang namanya qualitative study. Analytical study itu juga menjadi riset yang challenging, dan yang terakhir banyak-banyak adalah menggunakan mixed method. Nah, saya kira saya tidak terlalu jauh ke dalam ini. Nah, bagaimana setelah menghasilkan scientific writing, biasanya Anda mempublishnya dalam sebuah jurnal. Jadi kalau hanya berupa laporan penelitian, berarti itu hanya report dokumen. Tapi yang paling penting adalah mempublish di sebuah jurnal. Jurnal sekarang ya bisa terindeksasi Sinta, bisa terindeksasi Scopus, atau terindeksasi dengan WOS. Di Indonesia sendiri ini sudah dikatakan bagus, andai kata jurnal tersebut adalah terakreditasi. Sudah dalam website Sinta Kemendikbudristek itu kalau Anda berikan sebuah pencarian terhadap S1, S2, S3, S4 biasanya itu sudah bisa digunakan untuk kenaikan pangkat dan membatalkan daripada syarat khusus untuk kelulusan S2. Ya kalau di kita rata-rata kalau Sinta itu adalah S2. Tapi kalau Scopus, nah ini ciri-cirinya kalau dia reputable. Kalau reputable, dia harus terindeksasi oleh highest scientific index services. Apa ciri khasnya? Dikatakan dia international reputable journal, dia memakai yang namanya bahasa internasional. Bahasa internasional yang diakui oleh PBB. Sorry, we have got a meeting actually, but okay. Yang kedua, keberkalaannya jelas. Dan ini yang paling penting, editorial board-nya harus multinational. Dan artikel contribution-nya itu dari berbagai negara. Nah, ukurannya berbeda. Ada dua mazhab saya kategorikan international reputable journal itu. Yang pertama, dia publisher-nya adalah Elsevier. Dan Elsevier has a subdomain of their merchandise. Yeah. The first one is Simagu GR. Simagu GR is a journal database. Yeah. Organized and owned by Elsevier. So if you would like to know whether the journal is indexed by Scopus or not, Simagu GR is the right place to go. But unfortunately, it is slower than Scopus.com. But Scopus.com now, if you subscribe, ya, kalau Anda berlangganan, maka Anda akan mendapatkan banyak informasi terkait dengan Scopus. Termasuk juga di dalamnya ada yang namanya SGR, kemudian di dalamnya juga ada kuartil, banyak hal yang bisa dilakukan di dalam Scopus. Baru kemudian Sign Direct, ini adalah marketplace-nya, sedangkan Mendeley sendiri itu adalah reference manager. Nah, di dalam Simagu GR, they consider journal into 4 classes. We1, quartile 1, meaning if the ranks of that Scopus take a place in 25%, the last 25% out of 100%. So from 36 up to 100%, it is classified as a GUI1 journal. Yeah, GUI1 journal. So maybe I can show you, yeah, some student. If you have a look, this Scopus, for example, yeah, just go to Scopus. Here, Scopus, Scopus.com. Yeah, we have, yeah, Scopus.com. Sorry, this is so big here. Yeah, this one. This is a Scopus. And you have, if you go to Simagu, Simagu, this is a Simagu. So actually this is belong to, yeah, Simagu. That says Scopus. So if you would like to have source, for example, yeah, then you can have a lot of journal database there. Journal, for example, social science. Yeah. Yeah, for example, social science. General social. Sorry, general social. This one is a journal. Look at here. You have information about SGR, site score, SNAPS of 2025, for example. So you have a lot of Simagu also. But from Scopus, you can have a look here. Anda bisa melihat di situ persentage-nya itu yang menentukan dia masuk dalam kategori apakah kuartil 1, kuartil 2, kuartil 3, kuartil 4. Sehingga kalau 99% jurnal ini adalah ranking 1 dari 428. Q4 itu 0 sampai 25%, Q3 25% sampai 50%, Q3, mohon maaf, Q2 50% sampai 75%, 76% sampai 100% itu adalah Q1. And then specifically if you have seen a journal of 91%, it is considered top. It is considered to be top tier journal. Ya, kalau Anda mendengar ada istilah top tier journal, itu sebenarnya adalah yang dimaksud dengan tadi wakilnya adalah 90% sampai 100. So we have U2, U3, U4, and so on. Ya, ini contoh. So when you enter to Sinta, Kemendikbud Sentex, it is also mentioned there in Sinta. You can find out. It also mentioned the quality of the journal. That Simagu belong to what we call Elsevier. And then also I will send to you my slide presentation, and then you will know about how to calculate the H index. This is the way how to calculate the H. Okay? Yeah, there are a lot of things. Now, a different madhab, of international indexing services, we call Thomson-Reuters. Thomson-Reuters is a different publisher apart from the Elsevier, but also has 4 mass-index, 4 subsection. The first one is CNL. Second one is Web of Science. The third one is Thomson, right? And also it has reference meter. That's namely endnotes. Yeah. But they have a different system of the Scopus. They don't call Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Dia tidak menamai dengan Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. But they call in 4 specification. First one is citation index, expanded, that we call SCI. Second one is SCI. The third one is ASCI. The fourth one is CSCI. Indonesian government do not count, do not consider, tidak menghitung kalau hanya ESCI. Nah, tapi kalau untuk mahasiswa tidak apa-apa. Kalau hanya untuk master tapi kalau untuk yang namanya kenaikan pangkat, they don't include emerging source of citation index. Dia tidak menghitung. Karena itu terlalu lemah. Nah, ada yang namanya WOS profile-nya daripada Thomson Reuters, namanya yang disebut dengan webofscience.com. Anda juga bisa. Sehingga, nah bagaimana Anda mau ke situ? Ini yang penting Anda pahami. Elemen apa saja yang perlu diperhatikan untuk menghasilkan paper dari hasil penelitian itu, harus memperhatikan yang namanya IMRATS. IMRATS itu apa? Introduction, method, result, and discussion. Of course, references and the management of submission. Sundan already told you about the whole thing, but maybe I will strengthen on the result and discussion. Okay. I will pass this one, but see, to writing a good paper, you should have at least this composition. first introduction, at least 1 to 3 pages, for example. And second is method, 1 up to 2 pages. The third is result, 3 up to 8 pages, and discussion. So please be aware that the result length, should be longer than the introduction itself. Don't put in the side way. Sometimes introduction is longer than result. This is a pity, ya. Ini sangat, sayang kalau Anda punya introduction lebih. Nah, biasanya kalau di Winhas ini mereka introduction-nya banyak, misalkan sumber-sumber dari Al-Quran. Hasilnya pun juga menulis kembali ayat-ayat Al-Quran. Nah, ini kan hampir sama akhirnya isinya antara introduction dengan hasil. Jadi kalau in hasil tidak ada citasi lagi, tidak ada kutipan lagi. Sedangkan Al-Quran is a resource. Dia adalah sumber utama yang itu menjadi rujukan. Kalau kita mengulang kembali Al-Quran di dalam bab 4, itu seharusnya harus merupakan penjelasan deskriptif, penjelasan analitik, penjelasan meta-analitik. Tidak boleh menghasilkan kutipan-kutipan kembali. That's not, Production must be shorter than the result. Okay, now we move to the result. Let me show you the result. Maybe yes. Then the result, because Sundar already talked about method. How to show the result? In academic writing, normally we call finding. You can say research result, no problem. Ada istilahnya research result. Itu biasanya kalau improt berarti dia di subsection 3. Kalau improt itu introduction itu udah masuk kajian pustaka. Sudah masuk dalam istilahnya citing bibliography, state of the art, and there is also a gap, there is also a method. A problem. Finding. In findings, what should you do? There is a numerical fact. There is a descriptive, there is narrative, qualitative, even schematic, collecting of data, testing data, analyzing data, developing a principle or a procedure, or even proving something, an interpretation. That's the finding. Makanya dalam findings ada istilahnya tahapan research, data analysis. Ini adalah deskriptif. Kalau deskriptif, statistik deskriptif, biasanya hanya terkait dengan mean, median, kuartil, average, modus, frekuensi, dan seterusnya. Kemudian, atau juga mengembangkan prototype, framework. Jadi Anda harus ungkapkan. Dan sebisa mungkin kalau itu penelitiannya kuantitatif, menyajikan numerik itu lebih menarik. To avoid of the English shortages. Jadi kalau Anda banyak bahasa Inggrisnya, kadang bahasa Inggrisnya lemah. But don't worry, if the existence of the AI or ChatGPT, they can translate easily. They can translate easily to English. Even your original one is from Indonesia, then don't worry, they can transfer into English. Let me show you something. So if you have a finding as a prototype of a new technology for example, in this case we have prototyping a smart sensor. You should take a picture of original picture. Don't use a picture generated from ChatGPT. If it is in the result, must be original. Otherwise, you can put in the introduction. In the introduction, if you have a framework, for example, if you have a scheme, if you have a chart, yes, okay, you can ask ChatGPT to draw a chart. But if it is in the recent finding, the chart, the graph, the picture must be original. Now, you can use a spreadsheet, software programming, application software, such as MATLAB, such as Python working on Google Colab, such as Corel Draw, such as a lot of even what ChatGPT also can be asked to do a graph if you have already the data. No problem. And then, but the graph should be based on the data that you already got. Now you can use also another, for example, this is from MATLAB. You can use clustering. Yeah, you can draw a scatter plot, for example. And also using bar chart, pie chart. Even you can use a heat map to illustrate the public average, for example. And stick plot. And we have also in MATLAB matrix adjacency of student meta literacy. So just do it. Put in the research finding. So don't let your research finding only consisting paragraph with the narrative expression. You should integrate the picture, the chart, the graph. That's better, much more better than if you have narrative expression. This is the plot output for example, from artificial neural network, plot, if you did artificial neural network for doing prediction and also comparison between training, output of the artificial neural network and the target itself, you can draw that. Maybe for social humaniora, if you have already established the indicator, the main indicator, sub-indicator dari indikator utama, dari sub-indikator, kalian mainkan, kalian gunakan smart PLS to draw the comparison between all the indicators in respect with the correspondent response, for example. Sehingga Anda memiliki banyak. Bahkan juga menggunakan in vivo. Sometimes we can, actually it is easy. How do you use in vivo? Just go to the YouTube and then ask YouTube. Tanyakan pada YouTube, tanyakan pada ChatGPT, bagaimana menyajikan dengan in vivo. And then you have a comparison between subject to other subject in response with the type of a specific questionnaire. And they are answering the questionnaire, the manuscript of the questionnaire noted in the special table, and then ask and what in vivo to draw. This is actually qualitative coding. Adalah pengkodean daripada penelitian kualitatif. And other ones, you can use also illustration of word cloud graphic. Research finding with the illustration of graphic word cloud. Especially for social humaniora research. Understand? If you have bibliometric study, for example, I believe there are a lot of students using bibliographic study, and then just use Phosphor to draw a graph to the current status with a specific topic of interest studied by more people. Even in the world, if they can capture the status, the current status of a hot dog, the interest, research interest. That's the schematic representation of the research findings. So don't let them only having a narrative paragraph, but fill them with the chart, schema, graph, bar graphic, line graphic, and everything. Okay, now come to the last session, is the discussion. What is discussion in the research, in the paper, especially? It is very critical keyword. If you would like to be success on submitting a paper into a journal, discussion is important. Dalam diskusi boleh menyajikan citasi. Karena diskusi ini merupakan refleksi dari temuan yang Anda punyai, dia inline dengan publikasi yang ada, atau justru opposite, atau justru dia menentang dari publikasi yang ada. That's a discussion. That's a discussion. So discussion should be reflected, showing analysis, evaluation to the research finding obtained in the research. So the advantage and the disadvantage, that's reflected for them. Also, this is strengthened or associating the fact with the obtained research that you have done already. And also prediction, and also forecasting, predicting, forecasting. You should give again, but don't repeat. Don't repeat the representation that's already given in the research finding into discussion. But what should you do? Apart from the analytical representation, you should give meta-analytical representation. Meta meaning beyond of the research finding, analysis or representation. Jadi yang tidak ada di dalam bab daripada research finding, taruhlah di dalam diskusi. Setelah itu renungkan dalam paragraf diskusi itu apa betul-betul inline, sejalan atau kontras dengan temuan-temuan yang sudah ada. Itu adalah diskusi. Sehingga kalau di dalam diskusi itu lebih kepada critical review dan meta-analisis. Dan yang terakhir, jangan lupa memberikan open problem. Open problem inilah yang paling penting, karena open problem sejatinya merupakan pengakuan dari seorang peneliti terhadap apa-apa yang telah dicapai, apa sudah mencakup semuanya, atau masih ada yang tersisa. Yang tersisa itulah yang ditaruh di dalam sebuah istilahnya open problem. Open problem actually is the current status stated by the researcher for the following research activity. Jadi open problem diberikan untuk kepentingan daripada peneliti berikut. Nah, saya kira Mas, itu yang bisa saya sampaikan. Thank you very much for your attention. And then if there is something to ask, please give a note and send it to me, and then I will answer straightforward. Ya, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih Profesor David. Hal maujud soal? Any question? Maujud? There's question? Any question? Mafi? No question? Tampaknya tidak ada ini Profesor David. Karena ini juga pas kebetulan waktunya sudah pas habis. Thank you very much for you both, Profesor David and Profesor Sunder, for your present. Until here, what I can deliver about this panel. Let's close our panel by reciting hamdalah. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Akhirul kalam. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.